The White House confirming late yesterday 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum would be stacked on top of the 25% blanket tariffs on all imports from Canada. Joining me now to discuss is the Mayor of Sault Ste. Marie, Matthew Shoemaker. Good morning, Mayor. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Marcia.
So Algoma Steel, the largest employer in your community in Sault Ste. Marie, how much of an economic impact does Algoma have on the local economy? What will happen if these tariffs, whether they be 25 or 50%, go into effect?
Yeah, well, it would have an enormous impact. I mean, about half the Sault Ste. Marie economy can be traced directly or indirectly to Algoma and its well-being. So that includes the restaurants and the hoteliers in town and the grocery stores in town, not only in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, but also on the other side of the border in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, where their retailers depend heavily on the wages earned by the Ontario side, and they've also got residents who live on the American side and work at Algoma Steel. So it would be a real blow to our economy and to our community, the community on both sides of the border, if these tariffs were implemented.
I know that you have spoken with the folks at Algoma Steel. What are you hearing? What's the level of concern right now?
Yeah, for them, I think it feels like deja vu. We experienced these tariffs on steel and aluminum in 2018, and the reality is this is a tax increase for American consumers. So a Trump tax increase on beer from aluminum, a Trump tax increase on Teslas because Algoma Steel goes into making those, on hot water heaters, on construction equipment. All those things will cost more for the American buyer if these tariffs are implemented. But unfortunately, it did likely continue to have an impact on the bottom line here at Algoma Steel if the tariffs are implemented. In 2018-19, it was hundreds of millions of dollars that it cost them in lost revenue as a result of the first-term tariffs that were implemented.
Does this feel, and I'm glad you brought up 2018, 2019, does this time feel different, Mayor?
Well, it's certainly more unpredictable. We're hearing now that tariffs might be stacked. There is little to no, resistance to the president's agenda within the Senate or within Congress. It seems like there is a, full takeover of the federal apparatus at the American level by President Trump and those who subscribe to his ideology. So it really is a difficult and different time than it was in 2018.
I want to ask you, lastly, your view on our premiers being in Washington today, certainly making the case that tariffs should be a non-starter between the two countries, given how close the ties are and how integrated our two economies are. If you were there, what would you say to Premier Ford or to any of the premiers? Do you feel that they are carrying the message that you and Sault Ste. Marie have right now about these tariffs?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a message that needs to be shared with American legislators and American business people because the tariffs will impact the Canadian economy, the Ontario economy. The level of government with the most responsibility for this, of course, is the federal government. So what we want to share with the federal government is that counter tariffs have to be implemented right away if these steel and aluminum tariffs are being imposed on Canadian steel, because in 2018, that really broke the logjam and got the American government to back off. So that is the message that I hope the premiers are sending to the legislators in Washington, that the federal government will step in and impose counter tariffs because it is unacceptable to have one way of tariffs and not a reciprocal tariff back.